Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stood before the Knesset, the weight of a nation's anguish heavy on his shoulders. His promise was bold, his tone resolute. Israel would bring its people home. Dozens of hostages, captured by Hamas in a brazen and brutal attack, were depending on him. The world was watching. This was not just another flare-up in a long-running conflict. This was a humanitarian crisis that had shaken Israel to its core. The October 7th incursion by Hamas, a day etched in infamy, had ripped families apart, leaving behind a trail of grief, anger, and a desperate yearning for resolution. Netanyahu, facing mounting pressure both domestically and internationally, needed to deliver. The question was, could he? The hostage crisis was not merely a political challenge, it was deeply personal for countless Israelis. Every day that passed brought fresh waves of anxiety, the agonizing wait for news a constant torment. Families of the hostages, their faces etched with worry and fatigue, became a poignant symbol of the nation's collective trauma. They held vigils, issued pleas, and clung to the hope that their loved ones would soon be returned. Netanyahu's promise, delivered with the gravity befitting the situation, offered a glimmer of light in the darkness. But it also raised the stakes, placing the onus squarely on his government to achieve what seemed like an impossible task, negotiating with an enemy that had shown little regard for human life. The historical context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict loomed large over the hostage crisis. Decades of mistrust, violence, and failed peace attempts had created a deeply entrenched divide. Hamas, designated as a terrorist organization by Israel, the United States, and many other countries, was seen as an implacable foe, its ideology fundamentally opposed to Israel's existence. Netanyahu, known for his hardline stance against terrorism, now faced the daunting prospect of engaging with this very enemy to secure the release of his citizens. The international community, while condemning Hamas's actions, also urged restraint, fearing a wider escalation of the conflict. The stakes were incredibly high, and the path forward fraught with peril. The Israeli government, under Netanyahu's leadership, sprang into action. Late-night strategy meetings, tense phone calls with world leaders, and a flurry of diplomatic activity became the new normal. Intelligence agencies worked around the clock, gathering information about the hostages' whereabouts and Hamas's demands. The military, ever vigilant, prepared for any eventuality, while also providing logistical support to the negotiation efforts. The public, bombarded with news updates and expert analysis, remained on edge, their lives put on hold as the crisis unfolded. Netanyahu, a seasoned politician known for his ability to project strength and determination, understood the need to reassure a nation on edge. He made frequent public appearances, his pronouncements measured but firm. He visited families of the hostages, offering words of comfort and support. He emphasized the government's unwavering commitment to bringing their loved ones home, while also acknowledging the complexity and sensitivity of the situation. His message, carefully calibrated to instill hope without making promises he couldn't keep, resonated with many Israelis, who yearned for a leader who understood their pain. However, beneath the surface of national unity, cracks of doubt began to appear. The passage of time, with each day bringing no news of the hostages' release, fueled anxieties. Rumors and speculation, amplified by social media, added to the sense of unease. Some questioned the government's strategy, wondering if a more forceful approach was needed. Others criticized the lack of transparency, feeling left in the dark about the true nature of the negotiations. Netanyahu, accustomed to navigating political storms, now faced a crisis that transcended partisan politics. It was a test of his leadership, his resolve, and his ability to unite a nation fractured by fear and uncertainty. As days turned into weeks, the initial wave of public support for Netanyahu's handling of the hostage crisis began to wane. Criticism, always lurking beneath the surface in Israel's fractious political landscape, grew louder. Opposition leaders, sensing an opportunity to exploit the situation, accused the government of incompetence, lack of preparedness, and a failure to learn from past mistakes. They demanded answers, accountability, and a clear plan for securing the hostages' release. The Knesset, Israel's parliament, became a battleground for this escalating war of words. Heated debates, punctuated by shouting matches and accusations of betrayal, dominated the airwaves. The 40 questions debate, a special session convened to grill the government on its handling of the crisis turned into a particularly dramatic showdown. Danny Elgaret, a member of the opposition whose brother was among the hostages, fainted during the proceedings, his emotional and physical exhaustion a stark reminder of the human toll of the crisis. Netanyahu, facing this onslaught of criticism, found himself on the defensive. He acknowledged the public's frustration, the agonizing wait for news, and the unbearable pressure on the families of the hostages. He defended his government's record, pointing to the tireless efforts being made behind the scenes to secure their release. He blamed Hamas for the impasse, accusing the militant group of using the hostages as pawns in a cynical game. He appealed for unity, urging his political opponents to put aside their differences and stand together in this time of national crisis. But his words, once met with unwavering support, now faced growing skepticism. The hostage crisis, once a unifying force, was now threatening to tear Israeli society apart. Eliezer Feldstein, a prominent figure, was arrested under charges that have sparked widespread controversy. His detention has raised serious questions and concerns among the public and political analysts alike. As news of Feldstein's arrest spread, it quickly garnered international attention. Leaders from various countries expressed their concerns, urging for a fair and transparent investigation. Meanwhile, the opposition condemned the arrest, calling it a politically motivated act aimed at silencing dissent. Prime Minister Netanyahu firmly denied any involvement in the arrest of Eliezer Feldstein. He emphasized that the judicial process is independent and must be respected. However, this incident has undoubtedly impacted ongoing negotiations, casting a shadow over the prospects of reaching a consensus. The path to resolving this crisis remains uncertain. With tensions running high and various stakeholders weighing in, the situation demands careful navigation to ensure justice and maintain stability. The coming days will be crucial in determining the future course of action.